What's going on, Broncos country? Welcome on into the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports. On today's episode, I want to run through some of the free agency grades for Denver for the signings they've made so far. Now, full transparency, I am filming this video Monday night. It is currently 6:15 p.m. Mountain Time. So if any signings happen after this, just bear with me, but I still wanted to get a video out to you guys here. Let's start with Talanoa Hufanga, the former 49ers safety, 2022 All-Pro, 3-year, $45 million contract. I'm giving it an A. It's my favorite signing spoiler of the entire free agency period so far for Denver. I remember talking about Hufanga on the channel like 2 months ago as this could be fun, but I don't really know if the Broncos will ever have a chance. Why would the Niners let him go? And I'm still wondering why the Niners let him go. Sure, the injuries over the past 2 years. He tore his ACL in 2023, and it kind of lingered a little bit into 2022, 2023, but lingered into 2024. Some wrists, some ankle injuries, but man, that 2022 season, he was an All-Pro. 2023, through 10 games, he was looking like back-to-back All-Pro until he tore his ACL in 23. Sure, 24, he only plays 7 games, but I still think once he's healthy, which give it 2 years from 2023 for that ACL injury to recover, and you're going to get a lot more of the 2022 Hufanga, who, by the way, they called Huff. Fun story behind it, too, is he's like a big bad wolf. He just blows everything down around him, so they call him Huff, and I'm going to embrace that too. So, Huff, welcome to Mile High, and it's an A grade for me. It's not even one of the more, Morik from the Raiders got more at Jacksonville, $6 million more, and he's nowhere near Hufanga. So, from a value perspective, $15 million a year. Ask yourself this: would you rather have Talanoa Hufanga for 3 years, 45, or Cooper Kupp, who signed with Seattle for the same contract? I'd rather have Hufanga. I really would. I think he's going to have a bigger impact on this team than a 32-year-old Cooper Kupp who has not been able to stay healthy for the past 3 seasons. So give me Huff. Let's move on to DJ Jones and just go down in order in terms of contract value. So he clocks in next at 3 years, $39 million on a re-signing. I'm going to give it a C. Jones played well last year. I'm a little surprised that not just he got re-signed. That felt like it could go either way. They were going to work on it, but he got a pay raise from 3 years ago when he signed coming over from San Francisco. And it's a loaded defensive tackle draft class. It's one of the best we've seen in recent memory. And by recent, I mean like the past 20 years. So, well, sure, I thought Jones last year did a good job of plugging the run and eating up interior offensive linemen and allowing all of his other teammates to get all the fun sacks and QB hits and all those great stats. He was the unsung hero on the middle of the D-line. Still doesn't change the fact that he's 30. It's a great time to go draft a defensive tackle. You're going to bring it back? Okay, 1 year, $13 million contract, but you lock yourself in for probably at least 2 seasons when this would have been a good time to go younger and cheaper at the same position. So just a little bit of a head scratcher for me. Maybe Denver feels that we're going to go after a running back hard in the draft. We're not going to have a great chance to then get a defensive tackle, so this is our best opportunity. If they trade up and get Ashton Genty and they don't have a second rounder to use on a DT anymore, then I'll probably change the C to a B. But for now, I'll put it at kind of like an average and just leave myself with more questions than answers. On to Dre Greenlaw, another Niner. 3 former 49ers here. Hufanga, Jones, and now Greenlaw. 3 years, $35 million. I'm going to give it an A-. I felt like if I give it an A, then it comes across as I like it just as much as Hufanga, and that's my favorite signing so far. I do love the Dre Greenlaw signing, though, so I still want to give it some type of A grade, and I'll give it an A- just so there's some separation between the two, but there's very little separation here. Now, similar to Hufanga, there is some injury concern here. Tore his Achilles during the Super Bowl against the Chiefs at the end of the 2023 season. So Denver's once again making a bet on, can this player bounce back and be healthy for us with a full year to really recover from that injury, which can be required for ACLs and Achilles injuries. I always felt like Greenlaw was the unsung hero is probably not the right word to use for it. How about the under the radar guy for the 49ers? You had Nick Bosa, you had Fred Warner, you had Charvarius Ward and Hufanga, and all those guys got all the attention. Meanwhile, here's Greenlaw, an excellent coverage linebacker, and that showed because once he went down against the Chiefs in Vegas, the coverage really went downhill with his replacement, and he's good at tackling. He may not make a huge amount of big splashy plays like a Fred Warner, but I still think he's an excellent addition right to the middle of this defense, and there's a very slim difference between Greenlaw and Hufanga, but the difference is one's an all-pro safety just a few seasons ago. So I'll give Dre Greenlaw an A grade. 3 years, $35 million, so not a huge investment. If the injury bounce back is not going on, we can move on from him maybe a year or two in, but I don't foresee that happening. Let's talk about maybe everyone's favorite free agent signing, Evan Engram. 2 years, $23 million. It's $16.5 million guaranteed, so this is a sizable investment. This is not a 2 years, but it's really just 1 year because there's no guaranteed money for year number 2. No, this is a 2-year contract. I'm going to give it a B. I know that I haven't been as, lovey-dovey for the Engram signing as I have for the 2 Niners players coming over, and I feel like most of that is just rooted in the fact that I'm kind of nauseated to the word Joker anymore, and I'm going to throw up the next time I hear it. But don't get me wrong. Evan Engram is a good signing, and I think a B grade, at least I thought in college and high school, was a good grade to get. So Engram comes in and immediately improves this tight end room. I'm talking like 5X, which you had previously. 2023, 963 yards, 114 receptions. I probably sold him a little short when talking about his... I wouldn't say he's a red zone target, just exclusively a red zone target. I'll probably walk that one back a little bit because, more tape, more highlights on him and things like that. He is a lot of fun with the ball in his hands in the middle of the field, and you could put him at tight end, so you could put him in the slot position or in the slot role, and he can run routes from there. So he's a good route runner, and look at his numbers. He only played half the year last season, and he still nearly outdid all Denver's tight ends. How about we just combine the last 2 seasons? 1,300 yards from Engram in 26 games, 845 from all Broncos tight ends in all 34 games. You are improving at the tight end position. So I'm going to give it a B grade. I still think this does not eliminate the chance that Denver goes tight end early. He's almost 30 years old. I don't think he is going to be a long-term piece for them, and tight ends take a little bit to develop. So it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if, hey, maybe you go after a tight end in round 1, have them sit for a season, and then after that, they can take over from Engram. So for the 3 big guys we talked about, how would you pick your favorite? Would it be Evan Engram? Would it be Hufanga or Dre Greenlaw? Just let me know in the comment section which one was your favorite signing. You know mine by now. I just want to hear from you down below. So we have some more signings to get to here in just a second, but let's talk about the next signing, which is Jarrett Stidham, as we kind of move into the re-signings now. 2 years, $12 million. I think it's a pretty good re-signing. I'm going to give this one a B as well. I don't think Jarrett Stidham is going to be a needle mover as a backup quarterback, but this is the kind of signing that you just got to take the coach's word for it, because the backup's job is never noticed by the fans. They are there to help the quarterback prepare during the whole week of practice. They are there to run the scout team offense for the defense for whoever they're playing that week. And those are things you just don't see on Sundays. So if Sean Payton and the coaching staff felt like Stidham was a very good player in that role for them in terms of Monday through Saturday work, then I'm going to believe Sean, because he knows 100 times more than I do about football. So I like this re-signing. It has some, continuity for Bo Nix in his young career of having a nice backup to connect with and develop with, and not having a constant changing of guards as he still is trying to learn what it's like to play in the league. So give it a B grade. Next deal, let's go with special teams ace Trent Sherfield. Comes over from the Vikings. I give it a C. It's not a knock against it. It's just 2 years, $8 million. You get what you pay for here, right? You're signing a special teams player, and special teams can only usually have so much of an impact. We often call it a third of the game. It's not. You know how I know that? Our 3rd draft picks for special teams? No. I'd say 49% are offense, 49% are defense, and 2% are special teams. So I'm not trying to say Sherfield's a bad player, but you get what you pay for here, and you're getting a special teamer, and that's valuable, and that's great, and I like that. But if I gave it an A, wait a minute, that means him and Hufanga are on the same level? No. All right, before we move on to the other signings here, we're trying to reach 34,000 subscribers. We are just under 400 away, so lock yourself in for some of the best free Broncos content out there and help us continue to grow as a channel. So after Sherfield, we've got Justin Strnad. He came back for year number 6 in Denver, and I know that Strnad has been in and out of the lineup in terms of his role as a starter, and it's been very dependent on injuries above him. And for a while, he was just a special teamer. It's a very cheap 1-year, $2.78 million contract. He was told he's going to compete for the starting gig, which makes me think Strnad versus Alex Singleton next to Dre Greenlaw. Same logic I have for the previous one. It's a C+. I like Strnad on special teams. I thought he played pretty well on defense last year. Him and Cody Barton, I don't think were a disaster, right? Sure, the run defense kind of wore down as the season went on, but if you're paying for him to be a backup, which $2.78 million screams that, I don't care if they told him it's for a starter. I think it's still a backup. I like Strnad as a backup on this team. Matt Peart signed on a 2-year, $7 million contract. So you got your swing tackle back. He was valuable on special teams. I'm not going to be too polarizing on these ones. It's a C grade. It's average. That's what C is. C's get degrees, and Matt Peart's got a degree in being the Broncos' backup swing tackle / special teamer for them on field goal and all those types of protection units out there. And then last but not least, you've got Mitch Fraboni. All-time name, by the way. I don't think we give that enough credit. 3 years, $4.1 million. It's an A+. How can I be mean to the long snapper? Last time I checked, there was not one bad snap on punt or field goal. So, yeah, A+ grade for me. Makes him a top 10 highest paid long snapper. I hope his teammates always pay for his dinner when he goes out, though, because the long snappers, every 2 or 3 years, you get a Schefter notification of, like, the Browns, the Jags, the Cardinals have extended their long snapper who's been there for 12 years, making him the highest paid long snapper in the NFL. And it's always 3 years, $3.8 million. And you're like, that's the highest paid? So he's 8th. So good for Mitch. If I saw Mitch, I feel like he makes more than me. I'd feel obligated to buy him a drink. I'd be like, Mitch, time's tough. Is a belt a little tight right now? If so, don't worry. Let me get this one for you. I got it. You owe me. Don't Venmo me. And then he never would. So go to chatsports.com/fanatics to get a Bo Nix t-shirt jersey combo. They got lots of great deals over there. Mitch, if you're watching, you should definitely use that one too. All right, that will do it for us on today's show. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Mitch, I put that link in the comments and description. I don't know if they have his jersey. I think it'd be kind of weird if you showed up in Bo Nix's jersey. Don't get Bo Nix. That's kind of a simp move. So don't do that, Mitch. Mitch, Big M, whatever you prefer. Just let me know in the comment section. And I will see everyone later with more signings inevitably.